Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Okay, it was a great shareholder meeting. The energy felt good from Elon and the company. Suddenly felt very positive. Quite the contrast to our previous quarter. Anyway, there is a lot to get through, so I will be quick and will expand on some a lot later on. Elon says that their target is to reach a 2 million vehicle a year run rate by the end of this year. A number I've actually heard some of you throwing at me in the past too. We can certainly break that down into factory and model in a future valuation. I'm super pumped about doing my valuation on that. It sounds like Tesla have been paying attention to what the community are telling them. The infamous Chuck's left turn sounds like it may have been solved, and Elon thinks that FSD will seriously accelerate the stock price. And it's still coming this year. Tesla shows that they have the highest operating margins out of any other auto company. Now, this is operating margins, not gross margins on vehicles. In other words, this also includes all operations of the business, like servicing, parts, and financing. Bear in mind, the vast majority of Tesla's cars on the road are still under warranty. Tesla's parts business still has a long way to go. Tesla has proven to the industry that it is possible to go electric and be profitable, as long as you can make a compelling electric car. Compelling is the operative word. Just making an electric car is not enough. Manufacturers need to utilize the fact it's electric and design the car around something that is compelling for the customer still. For example, compare the Chevrolet Bolt, a cheap, basic car where the only difference is it is electric. Okay, sure, electric is cheaper to run and better for your health, but that doesn't seem to be enough for customers to simply buy an electric car. Then compare the Ford F-150 Lightning. I give that car a lot of credit. Ford have made a very utilitarian truck targeted at their customers and really thought from the ground up about what it would be capable of. And for example, the massive frunk has been extremely popular. Of course, Tesla really took advantage of the benefits of an electric car to another level that only a true software company really could, with their exceptional acceleration, handling, safety, range, and smart technologies, compared to just offering an electric version of the similar ICE car. And some are trying, but they aren't thinking right. Look at Mercedes and BMW. They're covering it all in glitter with flashy lights and over-engineered consoles, all sorts of things that add no real value. The Ford F-150 Lightning and Teslas offer true value. Ford seem to realize this. I can't say I've seen any others yet, whereas the Chinese EVs are just trying to make Tesla clones. Legacy OEM need to tap into their market and find value. Perhaps Ford were able to with the F-150, as it is the workman's truck, so it was easier. But what are other mainstream lifestyles or occupations that require a specific vehicle utility? Well, that's what they need to work out. For cars like Ferrari or Porsche, part of the appeal for the people that buy these cars is that they want everyone to know they are rich and successful. Therefore, they need to get people's attention, which was previously done with a loud noise. My Tesla doesn't get people's attention, nor the police's for that matter. But we know that legacy autos are good at one thing, advertising. Therefore, they will try and convince their customers as to why their electric car is worth buying. But in these ads, what are they saying it's worth buying over? Should you buy a legacy EV over their previous ICE versions? Or are they trying to say, buy it over a Tesla? I almost think Polestar is marketing themselves as the anti-Tesla EV. An EV for people who don't like Tesla or Elon. However, I drove the Polestar. It was just like an ICE car. If it made an engine noise, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. It was very laggy. I would put my foot down on the accelerator and nothing would happen. And there was a massive center console that was actually uncomfortable for my leg whilst driving. There weren't sufficient armrests either. But anyway, companies like Polestar advertised during the Super Bowl, along with almost all the other major legacy players attempting EVs. And what happened? Tesla's sales went up dramatically. You see, every time these companies promote EVs, that is them giving their badge of approval to all their customers that electric is not only acceptable, it is the future. Except what company is best known for electric cars? Well, it's Tesla, of course. So GM and BMW or whoever are saying electric cars are great. Consumers then look into electric cars and discover Teslas are great. We keep saying this transition will be tough for legacy, but all we ever discover is that it will be tougher and tougher for them than we thought. And now we're worried that some have just given up and are going to try and profit massively from a hybrid attempt. Elon says that the Model Y looks to be on track to be the highest selling vehicle by revenue this year, of which I would also infer that that would mean it would be the most profitable vehicle sold too. But then Elon also says it will be the highest selling by quantity next year, which, as exciting as it sounds, doesn't quite mean as much as it used to. Toyota Corolla was the previous highest selling vehicle globally. However, sales were as low as 1.1 million last year, although they have been as high as about almost 2 million at their peak not too long ago. So I think this target is quite easy. However, I also think it is possible to get closer to 2 million Model Ys. Of course, the majority of Tesla vehicles sold will be Model Y, and we would hope for about 2.5 million total Teslas produced next year. So it'll be close to 2 million Model Ys, but easily the most sold car in the world next year, as long as we don't run into any issues. And Elon says there will be a new factory location announced later in the year, perhaps on the Q3 earnings call, or just a general announcement, but it's happening. Remember, we already have a new factory coming in this year in China, and that has been announced. So where will this next factory be? There are a lot of people thinking Canada. Personally, I think it will be Northeast US in order to deliver that side of the US and Canada. It will cut down on logistics, and the US will be Tesla's biggest market, at least for new car purchases. It's their home turf, and the largest new car market by dollars sold. They may want to secure more of their market share by building another factory there again. Then my second guess would be Indonesia, as the Indonesian government have already made an offer to Tesla to build a factory there with a 500,000 a year capacity, not to mention the massive supply of nickel that that country has. That would be my guess as to the next locations. Meanwhile, we should also expect further expansion at existing locations like Texas and Berlin. And each location should have a capacity of around 1.5 to 2 million vehicles a year. Alright, so I think that the Model Y line in Austin should be able to hit 1 million a year run rate alone, judging by how well Shanghai is going and the fact that Austin has all new architecture, massive differences with castings and structural packs. I mean, we have seen the difference it makes. Then Cybertruck, which should be a very simple vehicle to manufacture, for lack of better words, but you know what I mean. And sure, it could take Tesla 2 years to hit those rates, but the current Austin factory alone should be 1.5 to 2 million a year. Yet Elon says they're going to spend about 4 to 5 times as much on expanding that site. Not to mention, we also have the Shanghai site, which will hit a 2 million a year run rate alone as well. Anyway, you know what I'm fishing for here. There is the possibility that these factories end up producing a lot more vehicles than we are told, and perhaps Tesla's 20 million target is possibly being sandbagged. But at the same time, it doesn't exactly matter, does it? I mean, we're splitting hairs at this stage on whether we get 30 times return or 40 times return, when 10 times alone is going to change most of our lives in such a way we won't even recognize it. And Elon thinks they'll end up building 10 to 12 more gigafactories. I'm not sure if he is including the ones we already have in these numbers, but either way, it sounds like they have plans on expanding the necessary amount in order to reach that 20 million target by the end of the decade. Funnily enough, that target has not changed despite being perhaps 18 to 24 months behind on 4680 cell progress. Perhaps it means that although the cells are taking longer, they have made other improvements and are therefore able to produce them faster than they thought eventually. I think the current 4680 cell has more potential than the previous battery day 4680 cell. But you know me, I would think that. Alright, there is more to talk about, but it should only take one more video to cover. And then we need to assess everything that has been said and put some solid projections, forecasts and valuations together for the end of the year. I'm building this model already, but it's really important to me. And remember, I'm not doing it for entertainment. I will literally put my money where my mouth is with this model. So I need to get it right. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.